Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Building Bitcoin Websites video tutorial. I am Kyle Honeycutt and thank you again for being here. If this is your first time watching, thanks for checking out my channel, and if you like what you see, don't forget to click that subscribe button down below. What I wanted to go over today was Bitfinex's Websocket API and to show you just how easy it can be to use it to get live data straight from the exchange. And I'm going to make things super simple for everyone out there, so no matter who you are, you'll be able to follow along. You don't need a website, a web server, or any fancy programs. We'll just be able to do this simple, just straight in Notepad. So whether you're a blogger, maybe you're a web designer that wants to get their feet wet with a little raw and dirty code. Now, I'm also really excited about something, so I'm going to take just a moment to share this with you guys. If you follow me on Twitter, you've probably already realized or seen that I've been working on a book for about a year, and last month I finished it. So the last few weeks I've been going through the publishing process, and then yesterday I received my first proof in the mail. And this is the book. It's called Building Bitcoin Websites. It's a guide for beginners and intermediate web developers. It's about 180 pages thick. It's full of a bunch of different code examples, and the code examples are all notated so you can look it up on my GitHub. So if you see a code example like this inside the book, there'll be a number next to it, and you can use that to go to my GitHub/book and type in the number and get the code. That way you can copy and paste it, because it's kind of hard to copy and paste from a book. So I put that in there. It's full of a bunch of information and a lot of questions that I get from my viewers. Whether you're doing third-party API stuff like blockchain.info, that's in here. Whether you're doing stuff with the Bitcoin core software like Bitcoin D, that's in here. And I go through 3 different projects. Like, as you learn something, I try to make it fun by building something that you can actually use. So some of the things that you'll build will be like a widget or a price ticker. Another thing you'll build is an e-commerce website, just a simple one. And I'll also show you how to create a Bitcoin game. I don't create videos on that. People have requested. I'm not going to share that online openly because there are so many scams out there with Bitcoin. We don't need any more where somebody creates a game, people deposit money, and then they run away with it. That's why I don't create videos like that. But that's in here in this book. This should be done. Well, my editor just got back to me showing that I've made a bunch of grammar mistakes. It's been a while since I've taken an English class, so I need to work on that. So I need to fix some of the grammar issues, and maybe it'll be out this month. It's very possible. It might fall over to next month, but I doubt it. When it is, it'll be out on Amazon, so definitely check it out. It's a great resource. So what do you say? Let's get into this Bitfinex WebSocket API.
Alright, the first thing we're going to want to do is head on over to bitfinex.com API documentation. You can get there just by going to docs.bitfinex.com. Now, you do not need an account with bitfinex.com in order to use their API, so that's great. Once you get there, you can see your menu over on the left hand side for the documentation, and then the WebSocket, and this is what we'll be working with. Now, the second thing you need to do is open up a text editor, and we're just going to do things plain and simple and easy and just use the built-in Notepad with Windows. So I'll just bring up my start, type in Notepad, and then here we go. And we can do all of this just in this editor, so very simple and straightforward. Now, what we're going to be using is JavaScript in order to connect to the WebSocket. I did a video before on WebSocket if you want to dig around for it, where I kind of explain the WebSocket protocol. So you can check that out. But this one I want to kind of just stick with how easy we can make this. So we're going to do this with JavaScript. And the first thing we need to do is find the WebSocket port, or for the connection that Bitfinex has. So we just scroll down here, and you'll see the SSL WebSocket connection. And this is WSS, which stands for Secure WebSocket, and then it's on port 3000/WS. So that is where it is with Bitfinex. So let's head back over to our Notepad and paste that in. So we're going to need this. Now, with WebSocket, we need to be able to connect to it, and the cool thing is that it's built in, so we don't need to require any additional libraries. We can just put it in. So the first thing it is it's going to be a new WebSocket, and then you open parentheses, close your parentheses, and then inside here these ones should be quotes. This is kind of a weird way of typing code. Typically you want to type the way you're going to do it. So new WebSocket, open and close with your semicolon, and then stick in the URL like that. But basically, it's the new WebSocket that you're looking for to create the connection to the WebSocket. Now, since we're doing this in JavaScript, in order to then refer back to this connection, we're going to need to create a variable. So we can just type var and then create a variable, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. I'm just going to call it WS for WebSocket. Now, bitfinex here, I believe they have an example of connecting. They say use the WS library, and they require WS, which is odd. If you use this code that they have here as an example, I believe this is probably more meant for Node.js, but if you use this, you're going to receive an error. So don't do it like that. The next thing we need to do is tell the program what to do once the WebSocket has connected. And we're going to do this using one of the built-in functions with WebSocket, and it's called onOpen. We need to reference our previous variable of WS and type on open. And then we can do equals. And we're going to create an anonymous function, which is just a function without a name. And then inside the function is what we tell it what we want it to do. And we want to tell bitfinex some information so that they can start sending us information. Once you open the WebSocket, nothing's going to happen until you tell them what you want to subscribe to. So we need to send them a message. And the function that's built in is called send. So you'll have ws.send or whatever your variable is, .send. And then and in order to send them information, we need to send it in JSON format. So we're going to do JSON.stringify. We're going to do open and close there, and then inside that we need to do our curly braces. And then we need to tell it inside these curly braces what we're subscribing to. So let's take a look back at the bitfinex API documentation, and you'll see info messages here. Let's get down to... Let's go to the public channels, and let's go to the ticker. So click on ticker, and you'll see the example here. Well, they have wsend, so they do the same JSON.stringify. So we have event subscribe, channel ticker, and then we choose the pair of BTC USD. So we can just put that in ourselves. So for the JSON format, I like to kind of build the structure first, so double quote, colon, double quote, and then comma, and then I do the same thing again. Double quote, colon, double quote, comma, double quotes, colon, double quotes, no comma for the last one. So that first one was an event, and the event is subscribe. The second one was, well, let me double check. It was channel, and then it's ticker, and then after that is pair, and inside pair is BTC USD, so that way we subscribe to the Bitcoin USD pair. Now that we've sent bitfinex a message, it's going to start sending us messages back. So we want to tell our program what to do once we receive a message back from bitfinex. And we're going to do WS, again, refer to our original variable up here, and we're going to say on message, and that's one of the other built-in WebSocket functions. On message is going to equal a function, and we're going to actually give this function a name. The other one we did not give a name. We'll call this one just MSG for message. So on message, we're going to run this function. What we'll do in here is we'll create a new variable, and we can call it whatever we want. I'll just call it response, referring to the response from bitfinex. And then just like we did the JSON stringify, this time it's going to come back in JSON, so we'll want to parse it. So JSON.parse, open and close our parentheses. And then we want to grab what is coming in from the message in the function, which we plugged it in here, and then the data within the message from bitfinex. And then at this point, if we want to just check things out, we can do a console log and put in response, and then we can see what happens. But before we run that, we need to tell the web browser what it is we're running. So we'll first do HTML, then we'll do script, referring to JavaScript, and then we'll close off our JavaScript and close off our HTML. And then you can just do a file, save as, save it right on your desktop. It doesn't matter what you name it, just make sure you change this to all files instead of text. Choose all files, and then whatever you want, so whatever, ASDF, .html. Save that and then browse to that spot on your desktop and then open it, and it should open in your default browser. Now you'll see nothing is happening. That's because we did a console log, so it's going to the console. We can check this with Chrome by doing Control-Shift-I and it will pop it up. And then we can also do, if you didn't want to do that, the shortcuts, you can go to your drop down here on the side and it should be under More Tools and then Developer Tools. You Control-Shift-I, it's the same thing. So this one, it's telling us we made an error. There's an uncaught reference error. Response is not defined. Let's see what I did. Let's go back. Response. See, typos make a big difference with code. So if you make a small typo, then your thing is not going to work. So we'll do var response, then response there. Now go ahead, I'll just save and update, refresh. Alright, now you'll see we're getting information straight from Bitfinex's WebSocket. The page itself is blank, so it's only in the console here. And we'll see we have the data from the ticker. And they break down how it comes out to us. It's the channel ID, then the bid size, ask size, daily change, last price. So you can look here and you can see we have the channel, which is 3. And the bid is currently at 646, and that's the size of 7.7 bitcoins. The ask is 646.11 of 1375. And it goes on. And you have the change for the day is $5.9. The change percentage-wise is 1%, 0.001. The last price to trade at is 646.09. The volume, and then you have your high and your low for the day of 655 and 636. So all this information is what you would need to create a cool little widget on your website. Now you might be asking yourself, what is all this HB stuff coming through? And that is the heartbeat coming from Bitfinex telling you that the connection is still there, so it's going back and forth, and it just says HB stands for heartbeat. So when we do parse this information, we're going to want to check to make sure that it does not say HB, because if we don't want to parse out HB, the heartbeat, to the user, we only want this data here. So we can have it check, see if it says HB. If it does, we'll do nothing, but if it doesn't, then we can grab this information. So let's go ahead and check for that heartbeat. And what we'll do is we'll just create a new variable. We can call it HB for heartbeat. And then we'll define it as response, our straight brackets, and then 1. Now with JSON and with computer code in general, the first item in an array is actually 0, and the second item is 1. So in this beat coming out, the heartbeat is in position 1. The 3, the channel position, is position 0. So I do response, referring to this variable, straight brackets 1, it's going to check what's in this second place. So then from there we can do something as simple as an if statement. We can say, if this, then we do this. So we can have it check. We can say, hey, if the variable HB does not equal, that's exclamation equals, does not equal HB, which is here, then we want to do something. So if it's not giving us a heartbeat, we actually want this data here. So maybe what data do we want, or what do we want to do with it? Well, more than likely you're going to want to display it on the screen to your user. So we can do that. Let's define what part of the website or the page we're talking about. So we can do that with document.get element by ID, open and close your parentheses, and then inside here we're going to define an ID level to BTC. We'll define that later, and then we're going to put dot inner HTML, so whatever is currently in this ID property, we're going to overwrite it with this new data, and then we'll say equals, and then we're going to put in our other response variables. So let's go back up here to our HTML, and between HTML and script, and let's add in our ID that we just defined in our code. So we'll have our div ID is equal to BTC. Don't forget to close off your div. So now the data, this part of the code knows we're speaking about this area because we gave it an ID of BTC. Now what sort of information do we want it to show? We might want it to show the current the current bid price, which is in position 1, response 1. So you could simply do that just by typing in response 1. Response 1 with your straight brackets. And if you go ahead and file and save this and refresh, you'll see that now our console is empty because we're not logging anything to the console, and we're only putting this out on the page. So 646.96, and that's the current bid price, and you'll see it updates automatically whenever there's a change. So before, with stuff we've done with like Ajax or with PHP, we need to have it refresh automatically. We'll say, okay, every 5 seconds refresh. And one of the problems with that is that a lot of these API websites, they have restrictions or limits of how many times you can send them a request. And if you do that too many times, they'll ban your IP because they think you're going to DDoS them or you're just abusing their free system. With WebSocket, it's great. It just creates one TCP IP connection, and it's just open duplexing a question between server and client, and it can go back and forth as many times, and it uses such little bandwidth. It's amazing. So the WebSocket protocol is very cool. This one goes ahead, pulls the bid. We could go ahead and do more. Let's go back, and let's say maybe you want to add in the ask, maybe you want to add in the last, and then the bid. Right? So we can do this. Let's say we're going to put in quotes, ask, so this is going to actually print the words ask on the screen, and then a colon and then a space, and then after that, if we want to add in a variable, we need to use the plus sign. So that's going to append in so we can add a variable. And then this one, let's go ahead and overwrite response 1. Remember the spaces, so we have 0, 1, 2, 3, so ask is in the space of 3. So we can change this to 3. So now that will have the ask price. And actually, you know what, let's put in paragraph tags in here as well, so they're each on their own line. Or you can do breaks. Actually, let's do breaks. I think that might be a little easier. So we put in a variable. We need to go back to HTML code, so we're going to do a plus sign, our quotes, and then we'll add a break. And then after that, we can add in the words last, and we can put in the last price. So we'll do that, and then we'll just type response, straight brackets, and see where it is on here. Where is the last? We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the last price. So we can enter in 7 for response. And then our plus sign, let's go back to HTML, let's put in another break, and then we're going to put in the bid price. And then the current bid price, we're going to put in plus, to go back to our variable, straight, and we know this one is in position 1. So now we have our ask, our last, and our bid all in order there. Let's go ahead, save this, and refresh. And you'll see now you have your ask price. So that's the one, if you want to buy, you have to pay $647.89. The last trade was done at $647.59, and the current bid, if you're looking to sell, if you sell at market, you would sell it at $647.58. And this is all going to automatically update. Put this on your page. You can go into your CSS and style this, make it look a lot nicer, because it's pretty boring. But just look how simple this is to do. So what you want to do from here yourself, it's up to you whether you're just going to put it on your website, but you can do so many things, whether you're just looking to, maybe you want to create your own local trading platform. But like, for example, something that I was working on yesterday when I was messing with this stuff, I don't know if I'm going to go through. It was gamified trading, so like you trade, and then if you make a certain percentage, like on this scale here, then you receive an award. I don't know if I'm going to go through with this site, but it's just something I was working on. But this is using their WebSocket. So you got the order book here, you know, it goes up 648, the last price, and then down here, and then whether there's a buy or a sell, I have it green or red, and you can place short or long positions, your take profit, close, and then some like statistics over here on the side. But this is just an example using the Bitfinex WebSocket API. And that's going to do it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching. Again, if you like the video, make sure to like it. Put in a comment, leave your comment, subscribe, do whatever it is that you do, and I will see you guys next time.